Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another special guest on from literally the other side of the world. This is a guest that I have seen several of her videos on LinkedIn, and I love the work that she's doing in her consulting business and really just providing people with the insight that they need to navigate some very critical aspects of whether it's business or navigating it in their career. So I want to welcome to the show, Miss Zoya. So thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on this wonderful platform of yours. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the audience knows that you're coming from the other side of the world. So tell us, where are you at right now?
So currently I'm in Islamabad, Pakistan, but I'm residing in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and I live there, I work there, I'm working as HR consultant. And yeah, so apart from that, I am running my own platforms by the name of My Pursuit Path. It's basically a career counseling platform where we are providing range of services. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So before you got into, your business with, the career consulting, what was your background before that?
Okay, Terrell, so that's quite interesting, I would say, because I started studying finance, I would say. I was doing bachelor's in business administration. It was back in 2009 in Pakistan. I did it from Pakistan, and I always wanted to do something in finance industry, and I wanted to pursue my career in finance. But later on, somehow what happened was when I entered into different sort of internships in finance industry and did some jobs, somehow I found that this is not aligning with my personality. This is not something that I'm made to do. So luckily, I would say fortunately, what happened was I got married and then I took some break between my bachelor's and master's. So I went to Middle East, I went to UAE, and then I explored myself. I met professionals over there. I always had, this kind of, I would say, inclination towards HR, where I was really impressed, I would say, or, I always wanted to do something in training and development and performance management. And I really wanted to do research into these things. I wanted to know, like, how does these things happen, and how I always used to think, how can I contribute in this particular domain? So I started exploring myself. I started, digging into it deeply, I would say. And that's how I just entirely changed my career. And I thought, no, now I would go with MBA in HR. And that's where I would say the biggest, the turn that I took in my career was that. Apart from that, I would also like to mention that when I was doing my MBA, I always, used to take feedback from my colleagues, and I used to take it very seriously. Just to give you a very simple example, whenever we are giving, presentations in our academic careers, the project presentations, these things. So when I used to give it, my colleagues, they used to say, Zoya, you are very good in teaching, and, you can be a very good fit in teaching industry as well. So why don't you just explore this domain as well? Why don't you go for a PhD and try to, just be a professor maybe in future? And that was something that was really new for me. And I thought, okay, so let's think on that as well. Let's think in that direction as well. So what I did, I would say that was a kind of like a strategic move, step-by-step strategy that I took. So what I did, I started doing jobs as a freelancer. I taught IELTS, spoken English language. I taught different subjects, you name it, and I taught it. And I taught it to students, adults, professionals. And when I started doing that, I found that this is something that's really my strength, and I can do it. So if you talk about my career and my background, that how did I came with my platform, you can call it, it's a kind of like blend of HR, the expertise that I have, and teaching thing. So that's how, when I merged these two things together, I came up with this HR consultancy, and you can call career counseling, where I really like to connect with people to understand what are their roadblocks, and how can they revamp their careers. So that was I would say a brief snapshot. That is a brief snapshot of how I started my career and how I jumped into this field of mine. Yeah.
And I definitely find that that is a very common thing, that people who are effective at being able to teach others a subject matter they have to be really good of really understanding where that person is and then helping adjust the content and the information so the person can
Mm-hmm.
actually walk away with more value.
Exactly. I would totally agree with you, Terrell. The thing is that, I really faced struggles throughout this journey, I would say. I mean, see, nobody is a born expert. I won't call myself an expert in public speaking or an expert as a podcast host, or maybe as I'm running my own YouTube channel, or maybe an entrepreneur, that I had these capabilities starting, since the birth of mine. It's not like that. I mean, the phases that you pass through, it really, the challenges that you face, it makes you learn a lot of things. And that's where, when I pass through these ups and downs, and I really worked on myself, I really worked on my communication skills, my presentation skills, because I had a completely different field before jumping into this business field. I wanted to become a doctor always, but that's another story. And I was a really studious sort of person. So I never thought about these things, this analytical thinking and the presentation, because, in medical, you're just into books all the time. So I was that kind of person. But then when I, just changed my career and entered into it, and the way I worked and explored things, now I feel that, I can teach these things to professionals, to other people as well. So there are some things I feel sometimes we just neglect, that we just have to tweak them. And once we find the right approach to tweak them effectively, we are on the right track. And that's where we are able to, recognize our true potential, and we are on the right track. So that's all I would say. And I would agree with you regarding that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you spoke of, challenges that you had along the way, were there any challenges that you faced when you're building your business or, starting it up that came up that was an unexpected challenge?
As such, not really, I would say. But what happened was, it would be a surprise for you that since 2014, I am on LinkedIn, but I never used LinkedIn in the right way, effectively, as we call it, the effective use of LinkedIn. So what happened? I met someone. Basically, he's founder of voluntary organization he's running in the UAE, and he just saw me, and we met due to some, job guidance thing, because of these, job seeking things, aspects. And he saw something in me, and he said that, Zoya, why don't you make your videos? Why don't you work on your personal branding? Why don't you use LinkedIn in an effective way? For now, you're not using it in the right way. And that's where I thought, yes, definitely, because I have got a lot of things with me. I had my research projects, I had my achievements. Alhamdulillah, I had the highest distinction, an MBA HR from Abu Dhabi University. So I thought that, yeah, definitely, why shouldn't be I, sharing these things with my network? And that's where, I started working on these things. And I would say, start of this year, I effectively used LinkedIn. And since then, I don't think that there was a single day where I thought, even for a moment, that this is something that I'm doing which I shouldn't be doing. Everything that I'm doing right now, talking from the podcast hosting, and, till the career counseling, whatever I'm doing right now, it's something which I feel it's aligning with my passion. This is what I'm made to do, and I love to do it. So it requires, the challenge was that I really had to work on my personal branding, because, you cannot build a brand without building your own personal branding, without creating your own credibility as an employer, as an entrepreneur. And that's where, at the very start, I had to, I made my videos, I talked about different aspects related to HR, related to, general concepts like communication, let's say job interviews, or emotional intelligence, team management, these things. And once I started doing that, and it was just about the start of this year when I started doing it. And when I started doing that, I found that I was getting really good, response from the audience. And that's where, that was the start of my brand, I would say. That's where I thought, now is the right time to start with my pursuit path. So that's how I started with it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So speaking of that, so when you talked about your YouTube video, so what can people expect when they go to watch one of your podcast episodes or some of your content?
All right. So basically, for now, what we are doing, we are running our own YouTube channel where we are mainly focusing on career-related guidance. So for now, let's say we have done quite a couple of, I would say, guest live sessions as well, where we have invited career counselors, we have invited successful businessmen as well, both in the UAE and international market in Pakistan, wherever they are, we interacted with them. So we are talking about the topics what we actually talked about in our podcast. So mainly we are talking about how to perform in a good way in a job interview. Let's say once you are landing an interview, how you have to present yourself as a professional. We have also talked about LinkedIn optimization strategies, so how you have to effectively use LinkedIn, let's say talking about the framing of your headline, cover photo, profile summary, these things. We have also talked about some of the aspects related to ATS friendly resumes. So these are some of the things that we have talked about. Apart from that, we are also, we would say that we are an advocate of personal branding, because myself, I have been through it and I've worked on it. So I always advise people to work on personal branding as much as you can. So yeah, so these are some of the things that we have talked about in our podcast.
Okay, awesome. Now, when it comes down to your business, what are the types of services that people can hire your business for?
Sure. So through our platform, we are providing range of services, starting from the career counseling sessions. We are doing it remotely for now via Zoom because of this COVID-19. So we are providing you services in terms of personal branding, LinkedIn optimization. We are revamping your resumes as well, complying to ATS systems that we have nowadays in hiring processes. And we are also helping you with personality development of yours. We have got our own methodology with which we pass you through, and there are certain quizzes, and there are certain tools that we give you, and you assess yourself, your personality, and that's how we pass you through. I would say it's a kind of like holistic transformation that you go through. So this is the one aspect. Another service that we are providing is the soft skills training side. So we have got range of soft skills that we are providing trainings in. I would say, like, let's talk about effective communication, negotiation, leadership skills. These are some of the things that we are providing you via My Pursuit Path. And in future, we are planning to move with HR consultancy. For now, we haven't started it yet because of this COVID-19, situation got difficult for us to manage these things. But inshallah, in near future, we are planning to do this. My expertise basically is in HR transformation, so I would like to move into the same field, along with digitalization as well. So because I have seen personally mostly companies in Middle East, especially if I talk about, they are moving towards transformations nowadays. So whatever department, especially in the government sector, so if they have got, let's say if they have HR department, they would like to digitalize it completely, and they would like to move with the best practices that they have. Specifically talk about, if I talk about the best practices, they are SHRM and CIPD. According to these bodies, they would like to have the best processes, the policies, according to which they can govern their entire departments. So this is what we are planning to move with in future. So these are some of the services we are providing via our platform. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So where can people find you online, or where can they search for you on social media?
All right. So, Terrell, for now, we are running our platform via a website. So you can visit our website. It's an e-platform, www.mypursuitpath.com. You can go there. You can visit us. You have got any inquiry, you can just go to our contact us page and, send us an inquiry via our website. Apart from that, you can email me directly on my email address. I'm usually very active on LinkedIn. You can search me anytime, and you can always send me a message directly on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me. My team members are also working. I've got my husband. He is the co-founder of My Pursuit Path. He's basically I would say, the biggest support behind the entire website development. He's the IT guy, so he has got, alhamdulillah, mashallah, quite years of experience working in the IT industry in the UAE market. And then I've got another team member. She is Amna Hussain. She is also HR professional. So you can also professional. So you can also contact her. So we have a small team for now managing these things because it's a startup. It's been just like 3-4 months. So inshallah, there are a lot of things that we are planning to move with in future, and we will be including in our platform. Yeah. So for now,
Awesome.
these are some of the ways you can.
Awesome. So one question that I like to ask every guest before we wrap up is, when you think about your journey in your career, and then you think about your journey as an entrepreneur, what are 2 pieces of advice that you would share with an entrepreneur that you think, hey, you should grasp this to be successful?
Mhm. That's a wonderful question. Thank you for raising this up. I would say that, this terminology, USP, unique selling proposition. Uh, this is something like a core competency, your unique selling strength. What is that? What is that one thing in you which sets you apart from your competitors in the industry that you're operating in? Try to find that and then build your brand on that, sell yourself on that. I mean, see, whenever we talk about personal branding, I usually tell to my clients, and also I make videos on these things, that branding is completely different from advertising. Branding is something where you build your credibility. You want people to trust you. You want people to, listen to you. But advertising is just selling yourself. You are just showing that you are present there. You are present on a platform. But how you are showing that you're present on platform, I mean, what is the purpose of your presence? That you show by presenting yourself in terms of personal branding, and this branding, this credibility we want to have. So first of all, I would advise you to identify your unique selling proposition. What is your strength that sets you apart from other people? Secondly, I would say that never ever compare yourself to anyone in any industry. Let's say whatever expertise you have, whatever profession you have, never try to imitate other people's style. We have got a lot of capabilities in us, and every one of us has got his or her own, I would say, communication style, let's say, or maybe talent or strengths which we need to explore. We need to unleash our personalities. We don't have to become like someone. See, we can learn from other people. We can take some good pointers from other people, the way they're communicating. Let's say we like someone, we admire them. There are so many influencers on LinkedIn as well. But then try to expose yourself in your own unique way. So you don't want people to talk about you in this way that you are copying someone else. So I usually believe in these 2 things, and then just work with commitment, honesty, and integrity. These are some of the things that will take you very far in your expertise. So this would be a message from my side.
Awesome. Well, Zoya, thank you so much for coming on to the show, for telling us about your business, your story, and sharing wisdom and insight. We really appreciate having you on the show. It is an honor for us, and we wish you all the best in your business as you continue to grow and see more success.
Thank you very much, Terrell. It was wonderful being on your show. And I would like to say thank you from the core of my heart for your commendable job that you are doing. I mean, taking time out to bring people and showcasing their strengths, their potential in this way. It's really, awesome job that you are doing. So thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, be sure to click the subscribe button and follow us on all social media platforms as the Business Talk Library.